way that I like to have my truss rods so they're accessible from the sound hole, or not the sound hole, not from the sound hole, from the headstock side. Because when you have them accessible from the, oh, don't drop your truss rod, I caught it with the foot there. Okay, so if you have them accessible from the sound hole side, what often happens is you put the Allen key inside and you bend it back and forth, and the side of this Allen key ends up wrecking your G string and your D string, and it kind of pisses you off. So if you're a Gibson, you have a big nut here, so you have to remove a lot of material. Because this is just a little Allen key, what we'll do later on is we'll just take a drill and we'll drill a little hole so the Allen key can just slide it in through a little channel, a little tunnel, and you can adjust your truss rod from the headstock side, make a nice little cover. It's a good way of doing it, and I have not had any broken headstocks yet. So that's like over 100 guitars, so that's pretty alright as far as the track record goes. So what I'll do is check the distance from my end of my truss rod to this line here. That looks pretty good. It's not going to be in the dovetail itself, but it will be from the exact crease over. You can also slide it over a little bit if you want. If you check out the side profile here, we're going to have a head plate veneer on. You might even want to go a little further. And in fact, this one I think I will today. So I am going to take this channel and I'm going to cut it from over here till over here. So the truss rod is basically going to be going from the 13th fret to no, I eat my words. I'm not going to go that far. I'm going to go right from the 14th fret end here. The big thing is, as long as the truss rod, where's that fretboard?
On my table.
As long as the truss rod, like this is the adjustment point here. This is like the screw or the nut, you know. This is the truss rod from here till the end here. This is the point where it starts to actually affect your guitar. And my thing is, I want to make sure that the truss rod is starting on this north side of the first fret. As long as it starts on the north side of the first fret, it's just fine. So what I'll do is I'm gonna have it going from there to there. So those are my marks. It's kind of convenient. It fits quite nicely. So I'm gonna mark it a little bit further back here. And what we want to do is mark out our middle spacing. So I'm 3.30, so 3.42, so it's 1.5 and 20. That's my center there. And just going to check, verify. Yeah, that's just beautiful. And then what I'll do is I'll sight down my truss rod at the very end and make sure that the cutter blade is right in the middle. And that looks pretty lovely. Just a little more over. I'm going to rotate this a little. Yeah, that's pretty centered. That's pretty close to perfect. Now, another thing I'm going to take note of is whether or not there's any glue globs over here. And if there are, I'll remove them. There we go. So now, when it's sliding along my fence, nothing should really obstruct it. It should be pretty good. If you've got a big chunk of something stuck here, it's going to go like this. It's going to mess up your whole neck. So don't do that. But overall, I like that. So then, I'll take my pencil and extrapolate this line here. That's the front of my truss rod. This is the back of my truss rod. And if we take my machine square, put it down, I keep on putting it down behind me. Make sure your rudder is unplugged if you ever touch the blade. That's my left side. That's the right side of my cutter. And I'm going to do this in a few passes. roughly 120 thousandths of an inch per pass. And I'll start off with the work to my right, moving to my left. And this is, yeah, lovely. So I'll hold it above, turn it on. Oh, gotta plug it in first. Good thing I'm such a safe guy. Turn it on. There's the first pass. The truss rod is a 1/4 inch wide, so in theory it should fit in just lovely, and it looks like it will eventually. I'm going to have to square up the ends with the chisel later, but this is just fantastic. Depth-wise, it's not as deep as we want it to be. This thing has a technical name. It would be a depth gauge, and then some people call it a Wixie. If you like the name Wixie, this is Wixie. Sounds like a little girl. Hello, Wixie. How's it going? Okay, so I'm gonna set it to 0. Come on, you little panther. Okay, so the depth, the most part, 340 thou. And this guy is at 122. So I'm gonna raise it up to say 240-ish. Or 216, that's good enough. 216. Again, repeat. And one more adjustment is 340. And you might want to pause that for a bit, Evan. It might be boring for